Now, in the disturbing scene of Maddie Ferguson's murder, there is a spotlight only on her and Bob, but never on Leland. The spotlight appears on the giant in the roadhouse, but never on the old man. The horse Sarah Palmer sees is also in a spotlight, but it's never on Sarah Palmer. Agent Dale Cooper is also illuminated in the spotlight, just like the giant is illuminated in the roadhouse. Why the spotlight on certain characters, but not on others? It was, in my mind, it was probably just done for the sake of good cinematography and to create ambiguity, to create mystery that makes it more compelling. Now, there's at least one scene which may bear some significance. Even if there is none to be found, I'm going to offer it anyway, and let's just see where it goes. So I really love this scene, especially here at Glastonbury Grove with Bob. Now, could it be possible that the soliloquy from Agent Cooper's dream in Season 1, Episode 3 is actually a retelling of the events leading to Bob's presence in Twin Peaks? Now, think about this. Bob, a spirit conjured from the Black Lodge, having been invited to firewalk with me by Mike. In the context of ritual magic, Mike, as the conjurer, quoted from Cooper's dream, says, "The magician chants out between two worlds," which I interpret as a summoning of Bob as Mike's familiar. So Bob is then invited to firewalk with me, which means to exist in some form or another in service to Mike as either an owl or a human in the realm of light and the living. At least to a spirit entering the realm of the living, this may seem like a form of metaphysical firewalking in a certain sense. So the Black Lodge, of course, being a hellish place of eternal darkness where no light or love exists, only fear and suffering. So to leave the Black Lodge and to walk into the human realm, a place where light and fire exists, could very well be what Firewalk is referring to. This would certainly better explain why Bob seems to be illuminated by a spotlight in so many scenes, not to mention the play with light and darkness in scenes like this at Glastonbury Grove, where Bob is seen emerging from the Black Lodge and reaching into the realm of light and the living. After all, this phrase, chants out between two worlds line, certainly seems like a ritual summoning of some sort. Followed by firewalk with me seems to either be a spiritual invitation or better yet a command directed at the spirit which inhabits one realm being directed to enter into another. Anyhow, regardless of how I or anyone else may interpret this, I don't believe any great work of art should ever be reduced to just merely one objective canonical explanation, as I've expressed before with my work with Silent Hill. Now, if anything, Twin Peaks is the gift that keeps on giving by having nearly countless subjective interpretations, all compelling for their own reasons. And at the very same time, objectively containing a coherent storyline which serves as a compelling and unifying thread that, of course, we need to have a story, and serving as a framework for the creation of a series of improvised and artful sequences that sometimes may or may not be independent of each other, yet are related just enough in the same way as you'd expect a certain level of coherence at an art exhibit or your favorite wing of a museum. At least that is how I tend to view many of the scenes in Twin Peaks. So, even within the light itself, there is both generation and destruction occurring simultaneously. Just as in the darkness you can find pure, silent tranquility as well as horror, depending on your perspective and how you've been able to train your mind to sharpen your focus into the light so that the darkness always remains on the periphery. Well, that can be done in almost complete darkness. So what's one of the best ways to do this? Well, anything creative that you enjoy, take that creativity into new and yet unrealized directions. Try new things, focus, and change some key aspects of your perspective in that way. So you think you think tricks or training is just for dogs and cats and parrots. Well, here's a little revelation in case you haven't realized this, but humans can do the most amazing tricks of all the animals on this planet. Humans are the most trainable and are capable of the best tricks of all the animals on the planet. They can transform themselves into any form. We can transform ourselves into good spirits, bad spirits, demons, humans, what have you, right? So there's a lot of possibilities there. So don't overlook the power of your own mind. Okay, so now moving forward in season 2 to episode 6 now, it seems that some facts may be coming into view a little clearer. The episode begins with Harold Smith having been betrayed and his diary from Laura Palmer having been swiped, especially when we consider a few well-worn phrases from episodes past, namely that, of course, again, the owls are not what they seem, and an explanation of Mike's Firewalk with Me soliloquy from Agent Cooper's dream in season 1, episode 3. Now, having said that, we have to remember that by this point in the show, David Lynch was no longer involved in the writing and overall trajectory of the storyline. So you can take what happens next with a grain of salt. Now, the very next shot after Harold's complete meltdown before he hangs himself is one of the owl. And this is with Agent Cooper and Major Briggs on a camping trip. And the owl watches in the dark, feeding on despair and death, which is a clear sign of Harold's demise. So we see Harold, and then the next thing we see is the owl. So that tells us all we need to know visually. Now, later in this same episode, Philip Gerard's haloperidol wears off while in custody at the Twin Peaks Sheriff's Office, and this reveals the spirit of Mike speaking directly to Agent Cooper through his human host. So he spills the beans, telling Cooper that Bob was his familiar. Traditionally, a familiar is a spirit that assists a magician or perhaps even another spirit, such as might be the case with Mike. He just may be a spirit as well, of which I think he is. Familiars are commonly referred to as demons, which is the very namesake this episode was given sometime after it aired on TV. So now we are presented with a bit of a shift in the reality in Twin Peaks, as it seems that Mike is indeed a spirit. At least that's what they're trying to tell us. He's a spirit of more importance than Bob, meaning that he was once in the driver's seat, however, has since lost control, and now Bob's just running wild. It seems as if all the spirits in Twin Peaks have some degree of free agency as they go about their respective existences, some of these spirits masquerading as humans and others as animals. This rather conventional theme of spirits doesn't strike me as something David Lynch would have done, or at least have made so obvious in the first place, but let's just go with it and see where it may lead.